What is up, Buckeye Nation? Flowco here with Scarlet and Great, Ohio State football with Scarlet and Great right here on YouTube. Please do us a favor, subscribe to the channel, like the video, share it with a friend. Free Buckeye content for you. Yes, I know it says Mr. Ohio there, but he is not here today. We had a snafu with the graphic. That's our fault, not my guest's fault. My guest is his Fan Friday for Bucks and Brew. God bless him. We love him. It's Tommy. You know him as at TMB237 on Twitter or X or whatever it is. Tommy, how you doing, bud?
I'm good, Corey. How are you, man?
Doing great, man. Doing great. We're one day away from game day, right? I mean, how can you not be great, right?
I get it. I'm particularly excited about this week's game in general. Past couple weeks, I'm sure we'll get into discussing, but this was kind of the week, even before the season started, that I had circled on the schedule just because I think it's going to be an interesting matchup, and I think people better buckle up for Saturday.
You mean Youngstown State wasn't the game you were looking for?
No, it sure wasn't. In fact, I had to go back and do a rewatch because I just, I wasn't 100% focused on that game. Had other things going on, so had to do a rewatch of that one. But come Saturday, I'll be tuned in because I think we have a good one on our hands.
I agree with you. I was looking up some team matchups. It looks like it's strength versus strength going into this game. First of all, let's start with this, though, Tom. Obviously, we've been doing this dual QB thing all year so far. Yep. What is your reaction to finally we got our guy, rest of the season, Kyle McCord's the guy?
So, all right. So here's what I'm going to say. I'm glad that we have that situation behind us. I don't think that the way it was going was good for anybody involved. I will say, and maybe I'm in the minority on this, I understand from my point of view why Ryan Day had a tough decision to make. I think to anybody that watched the game, whether you know what you're watching or not, can see Kyle is better at throwing the football. Like he right now is a better passer. And the word Ryan Day's used is consistency. Kyle's probably been more consistent. Obviously he has. He won the job. What I will say is Devin Brown probably isn't as polished as a passer right now. And I think that the way he was presented as an athlete, though I do think he's a very good athlete, I'm not so sure he's the athlete that some of the media members had said he was.
I'm going to agree with you on that one.
Yeah, I mean, again, it's not rocket science to watch, the game and see that, maybe that athletic ability was a bit overstated. Mm-hmm. That being said, he did show he could run the football. And I do think that to some level, the defense does have to account for that. And maybe it's because it's Youngstown State. I don't know. But to me, it seemed like the running lanes were there. The offense, though he missed on some balls, obviously, he also threw a nice one to Carnell Tate.
It was a good one.
Yep. The offense did flow, and take away that penalty, they score on 3 of 3 drives with them.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe
a crappy penalty.
Yeah, which so, and that's a whole nother thing. So all I'm saying is I'm not debating. I agree with the decision. Let's roll with 6 and let's go. But I can also see why Day, had some trouble because maybe, I'm not saying this is the case for sure, but maybe the offense runs at a higher capacity with Devin's skill set is all I'm saying. And I think maybe the coaches recognize that. And I think Kyle's the guy, but Corey, you've been watching football your whole life. I have. It's a long season.
Mm-hmm.
Devin needs to stay prepared. And I think he will. I think they have both are quality guys and they're going to grind. So I'm not concerned about that. I just think at some point in the season, we're going to need Devin and I hope he stays prepared.
Sorry, I'm getting text messages here. I forgot to turn my phone off. I'm having all kinds of fumbling tonight. Anyways, yeah, you know what's funny? I did a podcast before the season, Tom, and I said, I think Ryan Day's kind of deciding between styles. Now, I don't think the competition was as close as what some made it seem, but I do think that we've witnessed, like you just pointed out, the offense moves a little differently with Devin than it did Kyle. But it's almost like, okay, it's almost like Kyle got the most majority of snaps. However reason that worked out, it worked out the way it did. And I think it's almost, you could look at this game, Western Kentucky, which is going to be an annoying game for people. People are going to look at the name and say we should just blow them out, but I don't think that's the case. We'll get into that in a minute. But he looked at this game as a bench target point and said we need to have our quarterback by now, because it's a week before Notre Dame and everything. So what do you think about all of that? Am I wrong?
No, I absolutely agree. And at the start, I had mentioned that this was kind of a game that I had circled personally on the schedule, just because, like many of us, I'm a college football junkie, and I've watched Western Kentucky play and their style, and they like to sling the football all around the yard. So that's why I think this is going to be a really, really good test for us, especially the week before Notre Dame. And I think Western Kentucky, I'm not saying that they're going to match us talent-wise at all, because obviously they don't, but they're not going to be afraid of us. They're going to come in here, and their receiver has already started talking. So he's back in the summertime, which good for him. He's a confident player, but I think that's probably the overall mentality of their team. And I said, I tweeted it out, and I, and we're talking about it. Like, I think the guys need to be ready. Like, they have got to be ready to go. And I mentioned it in a private chat with our guys, Pop and Dr. Brock. And I said,
good guys. If you know them on Twitter, good guys.
Oh, great guys. Yeah. Those are my guys. And I just kind of have a feeling that they are going to play well. I do think that the Buckeyes are going to come out and establish their will early. And I really do. I think they're going to come out and play well. And I'm not saying we're going to win by 29.5 points, but
I don't get these spreads, man.
I don't either. And honestly, Court, like so many people, and I get a lot of people like to gamble. I stopped gambling about 4 years ago, so I don't really care about that. For me, when it comes, I've never placed a bet on Ohio State in my life anyways. So, but just win the games, 100%. I just want to see them come out, play clean football, get after them and beat them like you should, But that being said, I do think Western Kentucky's probably going to hit some plays on us. Fans are going to, we got to put things into perspective. I think the ceiling for this Ohio State team is really high. Not to get off course here, but I think I think they got better from game 1 to game 2. Were they perfect? No. Do they have a lot of things to work on? Yes, obviously. Mm-hmm. But to everybody that's been griping and saying we don't look like Florida State, we don't look like our rivals, we don't look like this team. Okay, maybe we don't, but it's September. We don't need to look like them right now. Just focus on keep getting better, and I think I think that they have a good coaching staff. I really do. I believe in the staff, and I think that I know that their talent is amazingly high. Their ceiling is high. Mm-hmm. They're working some pieces in, and and we'll see how it goes. But like I said, I'm excited about this game coming up, and I think it's going to be a good one. But I really have this feeling we're going to play well.
Yeah, I actually agree, especially on offense. Their defense is not very good. And our offense is finally coming into it. And Kyle's the guy now, and I think it's kind of time to make a statement, put up 40, 50 points on somebody. The defense is going to be the big matchup because they have a really prolific pass offense. I don't see it's 7 yards per attempt for Austin Reed, the quarterback. So I'm kind of thinking they do a lot of screens and things like that. But that's going to be a little interesting with Sonny Styles up on the line. You're going to have guys, Jahad Carter might be playing a lot, or Josh Proctor be back. I'm not sure yet. And Lathan Ransom, of course, being a sure tackler on the line of scrimmage. 3 pretty sure tacklers at the line of scrimmage. You're going to need them if you're going to play those screen passes. But here's the thing. I got a question for you. We haven't had our secondary challenged yet. Indiana decided to go Army, in the Air Force wishbone on us for whatever reason. And Obviously, Youngstown State tried, and they got Cam Martinez once, but other than that, they
Right.
really didn't challenge our secondary. Denzel Burke looks a lot better. Jordan Hancock's been playing well. Igbinosun is a nice welcome addition. He's having a couple blips here and there. But what do you think of their receiver core versus our secondary in that prolific pass attack?
I'm excited for it. Burke has been it's really good to see him back to
Night and
form.
day from last year, right?
Oh my goodness. Just the energy and confidence that he's playing with right now is fun to see. So that's huge for this defense, to have him back to playing to form. The rest of the guys so far so good, but again, we are going to get a lot of our questions answered this weekend. I think not all of them, because especially offense versus their defense, as you alluded to, their defense isn't very good, but our secondary is going to get tested. That's why those guys will have to be ready to play. The thing I was really encouraged though about that, Corey, that I heard this week was Denzel Burke's quote, and I don't remember it verbatim, but just basically that their expectation is they should go out and mug those dudes. And excuse my language, but God damn it, he's right. Like, they should go out and mug those dudes. And I get it. They're working on something. They're working some things in, and people are frustrated by that. But give it some time. I think their mentality, when you got a guy like Denzel Burke, especially in that room, that is talking like that, that's to me, that's good leadership. And I think that's an encouraging sign to see. So, Corey, that out of anybody on Twitter, I've been critical of Knowles and his scheme, and I'm still not 100% sold on it. These next 2 weeks are going to be big. They keep saying year 2 is the year, and Indiana, their game plan. Everybody keeps talking about what these teams are doing, but I kind of, don't you think that a lot of teams are going to try to employ that same game plan until we prove we can get off the field? So at some point in time, like his defense got to step up, and I think the next 2 weeks are going to be a big challenge for them, and we'll find out a lot of answers to our questions.
Yeah, it's interesting because I was talking with our buddy Dylan Freeman, and he specifically said, well, Ryan Day and Jim Knowles have come to like Ryan Day doesn't want us to be super uber aggressive like we were last year, giving up big plays. So I think they're playing with a lot of space in front of them to not allow that, and that's what's unfortunately causing us to have more and more third down converted against us, because we're not playing up on that line of scrimmage and on that down to gain. Just to, like we used to do, because we were super uber aggressive, and it's kind of I think we're still trying to find that balance, when to be aggressive, when not to be. But I do like the fact that we've addressed the problem from last year. It's like, okay, guys, this is ridiculous. It's a big play every drive now, and I want to caution fans. I'm again, week number 3. Don't expect the edge rushers to go crazy, because I do think they're going to try to get the ball out as quick as humanly possible against us, and it's just not conducive for pass rushers to get sacks. You're going to have, what you really need is that middle, and they've been doing a good job this year. That middle of the line to keep pushing up and getting the interior to collapse on that quarterback. That actually stifles smaller passes, but we'll see if what happens or not. It should. I mean, we got a great interior, but. What would you caution? I mean, you've been critical of Knowles, and that's fine. What has been turning you around a little bit?
I mean, the talent that they have, the talent. I will say that they have no excuses. They have all the talent in the world. Like, I understand some fans have been questioning certain players, saying, "Oh, are they really a 5-star?" Listen, you may miss out on a guy here and there, but you're not going to miss out on 22 guys. They have talent. I questioned the scheme since the day that he hired him, and I'm still in this conference. I've questioned it. Can it be effective? I mean, I don't know that Michigan was overly intimidated by that scheme.
Nope.
and so they're, I just that's been my big question mark. Now they have the talent to do it. They have the experience. I hate to be cliche, but I mean, they gotta. It's time. They got to do it. Like it's
Mhm.
you either do it or you don't. And that's it. To me, it's pretty simple. That this is the time is now. In terms of fans' gripes, I listen. Some of it's fair and justified. I'm sure me. I'm certainly not a scarlet colored glasses guy.
No, you're not.
I'm certainly critical. Maybe I'm getting older. I don't know, Corey, but I just kind of have a different perspective now.
Mhm.
Maybe just as I've gotten older, I've learned more about the game. Not that I'm an expert by any means, but my point is
None of
I've
us are
seen
experts. It's all good.
yeah, I recognize some things here and
Of course.
there, and I just I don't want to compare eras or generations or anything. I had a tweet about the 2002 season and how some fans never would have made it
They would
because
have had heart attack every week.
oh my gosh, it was, and I was at every home game during that season and the
Mm.
national championship game. Like I lived and breathed. We said it during the season. I mean, I was 20, whatever, and I'm like, oh my gosh, this has taken years off my life.
Mm-hmm.
And at the end, the mission remains the same: win the games. And this team, we all want them to go out and blow the brakes off people and beat them 56-7, and play a perfect game. But that's just not reality. And I also think in this era, that this NIL era that we're in, like you're starting to see, you look around college football, Corey, there's a lot of good football teams out there.
Yeah.
I think the 12-team playoff is going to be fantastic.
Oh, it will. That's going to be great football.
Oh my gosh. And I don't, Johnny, of course, Johnny's against it. And
Johnny is against anything good in life.
Exactly. I mean, he's a stealer of joy. So I just, I think it's going to be great, but I just think that within this era of NIL, you're going to start seeing a lot of talent distributed. I mean, you're already starting to see it. Texas Tech just signed a 5-star wide receiver. Missouri, I think, got a 5-star defensive lineman. You're going to start seeing bigger talent going to other schools because of NIL. So, it
I think
might
you're
not
wrong.
be
I think it's just for the
realistic.
love of the school.
Yeah, well, and my whole point is it might not be realistic, right? To expect to blow out, because those teams have good players too.
Of course.
And I
In the transfer portal, a lot of good players are leaving those big schools and going to the Western Kentuckys of the world.
Right. There's a former Buckeye on Western Kentucky,
Yep,
Blue
Smith.
Smith. Yeah. So they've got dudes,
Mhm.
they've got guys that can play, and so
Former Indiana running back too. Yeah.
yeah. Even look at Indiana. I know Indiana, they're probably not going to be a great football team this year, but that defense has is it Andre Carter, the defensive end. And I think they had a linebacker, number 44. Like those guys are going to play on Sundays, man. Like those are NFL players. So I just think, putting things in perspective and having some faith in the coaching staff. Day's in a no-win situation, man. When you lose to Michigan, this is the way it goes. And
he's kind of earned it. Yeah.
He has. And I personally, I listened to his comments. I know he's getting killed for making excuses now. I mean, the media is asking him questions and he's answering it honestly.
I know. I don't know. People want him.
He literally should take a page out of my forever go Jim Tressel's book, and just Tressel was the master at giving you an extremely verbose answer, but never telling you a damn thing. He just was the master at it. And maybe sometimes
I think Day's a little too honest to some degree.
I agree.
Yeah. And not with the QB battle, he wasn't.
Well, yeah.
So let me ask you, Tom. Let's end on this note. What's your score prediction?
My score prediction is going to be Buckeyes 45, Western Kentucky 20.
It's very close to mine. I was going 45-24.
Okay. I didn't know that. I had no idea.
I know we didn't talk about this before the show or anything, guys.
Not at all. I think we're obviously the better team. I think we're going to play well. I don't think we're going to be perfect. And that's the other thing.
It's going to be an annoying game at times, people. Just get over that.
There's going to be moments that Western Kentucky's probably going to hit some plays like we just talked about.
They just blew out South Florida. I'm not saying South Florida's a banger, but it's like that's still a P5 team. I think they are, aren't they?
I think so.
No, they're okay. They were a somewhat respectable program. They gave Florida all they wanted last year, and I'm just saying they just blew them out 41-24. So it's not like this is some cupcake walking in. I mean, they're a decent team. It's not. Yeah. It's not Youngstown State walking in that.
No, they're respectable, and just the type of offense that they run. Like I said, our guys need to be ready, and I think they will. Like I said,
and don't look ahead to Notre Dame, please.
Nah, man, just go out and play good, clean football, man. There's always tweets every week about what do you want to see out of the Buckeyes this week, and I always respond to those the same way. Just play clean football.
You play clean. Much.
I don't think it's asking a whole lot,
I don't think so. Not in theory, it's not.
The offensive line had like 6 penalties last week. Maybe we could cut that down to like 2 or 3.
Maybe 5.
Something. But it's we've talked about it. They've got the talent. There's no more. They don't have any excuses. You either get it done or you don't, and they've got the talent. I'm excited. I think that having 6 back there and kind of letting him loose. One thing, just ending on that, I know we got to run, but with Kyle, Kyle, I think he was starting to get more comfortable as Day kind of let him start pushing the football down the field. I know that touchdown pass to Marvin Harrison, not the first one, the second one, probably wasn't his best thrown ball. I think Kyle would probably tell you he didn't.
It's a little late, but he did. Yeah. I think the placement was good, but it was late. Yeah.
Yeah. So it probably wasn't his best ball that he threw, but I think that you could see him starting to settle in and get more comfortable. And I know Land Grant or one of the media outlets had an article about Day and just having a mental block. And I don't know about I'm buying all that. I'm not getting into that, but I do think that
pessimism sells. You know that.
Yeah, I would just end on this and say, man, you have a talent advantage on pretty much every game you're going to play in the regular season, even against our rivals, even against Penn State. Like, you have a talent advantage almost across the board. So use that. Like, use your athletes. On third down, I kind of feel like last year he was trying to prove that Ohio State was not soft, and we can run the football in short yardage. Like, man, you built this team in your vision. Go be who you are. Go be who you envision this team to be with these Ferrari receivers and getting the ball out. Like Emeka Egbuka, like, get the ball to him in space, create some scheme him, and create mismatches like Sark does that. I'm not a Sark fan as a head coach, but I mean, it's hard to argue.
He's an offensive genius. Yeah.
I mean, look, I said today that, in my opinion, look at the 2020 Alabama team and look at what Sark did with Mac Jones.
Yep.
Mac Jones. I'm not saying Kyle McCord's Mac Jones, but Corey, there's a lot of similarities there, and so
I'd say he has a better arm than Mac. Yeah.
I agree. But I'm just saying, like,
they're both white.
Kyle can probably push push the ball down the field better than Mac Jones. I would agree with that. My point is, though, is he schemed Devonta Smith
Mm-hmm.
to get, especially they lost Waddle that year with his ankle, and they didn't miss a beat. And so I just, I would love to see the offensive Ryan Day from the Georgia game. I know that's cliche, and I hate because we lost that game, but the way he called that game was a thing of beauty.
Oh, absolutely. If we didn't have like 900 injuries, we probably wouldn't win that game.
Well, that's
yeah. I mean, it doesn't help them. Your best receivers out, and you need to throw that slant to Xavier Johnson. Nothing against Xavier. I think he's a good player, but he's not Marvin Harrison. Obviously, he's a wide receiver. But
right.
So he got 45-20. I got 45-24. Guys, the game's on tomorrow, 3:30. Western Kentucky at Ohio State. We're gonna enjoy the game because it's here so it leaves us so fast. Enjoy every game, guys. It's
man. Ohio State football is a gift, and sometimes
it leaves us in January.
Yeah, it does. And I know that sometimes the results, aren't as good as some fans would like to see, but man, nobody wants to win as bad, have a blowout win and demolish that team like the players want it worse than anybody. And so
and the coaches.
Yeah. And the coaches. This is literally their livelihood. So just go out, and the mission remains the same: win games, and the rest will take care of it.
Amen. Tell them where they can find you, Tom.
TMB 237. You may follow me, you may not follow me, you may mute me, you may block me. It's all good. It's all love. But
I've done all four. No, I'm kidding.
So thanks for having me, though, Corey. It was fun. We'll have to do it again soon.
Absolutely a blast. Fan Friday, guys. We love to have the fans on here. After you can see, we have some pretty smart fans in our fan base. They make us look good at times on the podcast. So appreciate you, Tom. That's been Ohio State Football Scarlet and Great right here on YouTube. Please subscribe to the channel if you like what you saw. Like the video, share it with a friend, and catch the Buckeyes tomorrow. Goodbye. God bless. And, of course, Tom, finish us off.
Go Bucks.
Go Bucks, brother.